So Taylor Swift has been seen with Travis Kelce, the Kansas City Chiefs tight end. This is What the Frac, where we break down marketing trends, strategies, and tactics so that you can do the fun stuff like be creative. We are your fractional team. I am Tamara.
And I am Nicole. And today we are talking about Taylor Swift's hold on the NFL. Right, Tamara? I mean, I couldn't go anywhere without seeing her face at the NFL game.
Yeah, this is a marketing case study on the NFL's drive for new fans and a new fan base, and they're doing it with the Swiftie effect. So, Nicole, I'm guessing everybody knows about what's happening with Taylor Swift and with Travis Kelce. But just in case they don't, let me give you a quick breakdown about what's happening. So Taylor Swift has been seen with Travis Kelce, the Kansas City Chiefs tight end. They have been photographed together. He has been at her concert in Argentina. There are rumors of an engagement. But we broke down...
By the end of the year, by the way.
But really, what we are interested in is the marketing strategy the NFL has had on capturing all that excitement and driving it into new fan engagement, social media engagement, and basically just an explosion of excitement for football across the U.S. with new fans. So, to break that all down, we have the fractional situation report or situation matrix. Now, this is a special matrix that we have made that we use to look at a marketing strategy, all the things that go into it, like community, brand, budget, touch points, challenges, all those things we love as marketers, and find out what they did, what worked, what didn't, what drove to the right outcome, and what didn't, right?
Yeah, and I think that it's a really important point that we always go through this. Me and you went through this when we decided to do this channel. How do we talk about fractional and marketing? So if you guys want to see more about this, go down.
So here is what we saw the NFL do. We saw Taylor Swift everywhere. We saw her all over their Twitter, their Instagram, their Facebook, in posts on their portfolio pictures, profile pictures, not portfolio, on their profile pictures. Her songs were at the end of games. Snackable information was being trickled out to new fans, like educating them on football. And then we saw this explosion of other brands utilizing the Taylor Swift events into different like marketing campaigns. And what was really interesting is all of that trickled out, it all pointed back to the NFL and football. So it was like all of this free media and buzz was being created off of these little sightings and events of Taylor Swift. And it was awesome. So what we saw the NFL do was, first, they were agile. Second, they started creating like what I said, the snackable content that was being trickled out to everybody with little educational videos, pictures, snippets, even jumping on the rumors. And they were utilizing like lifestyle content that would help younger generations connect with the players. And they called this the helmets off strategy. Now, what I don't know, and I'd love to ask someone, was this a strategy purely for Taylor Swift, or was this part of one of Roger Goodell, who's the NFL commissioner? He had a action plan this year. He wanted to get new fans in. So was this unique to Taylor, or was this a part of a larger strategy? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, either way, they had a strategy, and that's the most important thing here, right? The fact that they had what's called the helmets off strategy. This is not something we came up with. What the SVP of global brand actually talked about this, and some of the other executives talked about this. And what that means to me is like a lot of people look at what's happening at the NFL with Taylor Swift and say, oh, they got lucky, or it went viral because they're the NFL, or they just jumped on and they got, the timing was right. But really, yes, there's a lot of those pieces. but also they had a strategy, and this is so important whenever you're talking about marketing. And if it's an overall strategy, that they have this helmets off strategy to be agile, to be snackable, to just figure out where it is, they're setting themselves up to be ready, so when these viral events happen, they can spot the opportunity and jump right into it. And that is huge. That sets your marketing team up for success and not failure every single time. Tamara, I think this is genius.
Well, and I think one thing that really shines through, and we've got it on our situation matrix, is really what outcome are you trying to get, right? And you've got your good outcomes that you're aiming for and your bad outcomes that you're trying to stay away from. And if their outcome that they wanted was new fans and generating more engagement, like, this is a win, right?
Anytime you look at, if you're trying to set yourself up to do viral things or to jump on bandwagons, knowing knowing your company, knowing your mission, your values, all of those pieces, but then also knowing what your goals are. Everyone, when I work with clients, a lot of times they try to hide goals from marketing teams because they think it's not important. But for us as marketers, especially as fractional marketers and executives, I always go back to what's the main goal, right? If your goal is to bring in more people and more eyes, then jumping on a viral trend that you can work into your marketing plan, huge. If your goal is to put out a new product, then probably not where you want to spend your time. And the NFL, like you said, their goal was to bring in new people. So, but is it working, right? Like, we're seeing some data that's showing that would suggest it's working, but is it actually working?
Okay, wait. So let me just read off some facts, some of these stats that I'm seeing. So the bump among women ages 18 to 24 and over 35 increased by 2 million female viewers on their games. So, like,
wow,
boom, right? On social media, the league has seen 2 million video views on content related to Swift and Kelsey. Boom. And every time Taylor Swift attends an NFL game, the official NFL Instagram also sees an average rise of almost 13,000 followers.
They've also seen an increase in sales in Kelsey's jerseys. They've seen an increase in just articles and SEO and link backs written about the NFL and Taylor Swift at the NFL. The data is showing that it's working. So I think they're hitting their outcome, right?
I would say yes, but the one thing that I highlight on this report, because you want to steer clear of it, and I don't think they did that successfully, is the bad outcomes, which is basically, forgetting who your loyal customers, your loyal fans are. And there have been some longtime fans who are upset by the NFL's attention to the Chiefs, right? Showing favoritism. So that has come out, and they have not clearly avoided one of the bad outcomes in all of this, marketing pushes that they've been doing. And that kind of stinks. So you have to weigh.
Yeah, you always have to make sure that if you're going towards a goal, it's not being offset somewhere else, right? Like, it's great if they're bringing in new fans, but if you're losing your diehard fans, you're not really hitting the goal, are we?
No.
And,
but
and
they
also,
didn't punt this one.
Wait. Oh my gosh. Tamara, the other thing is just because it's viral, like, one of the biggest mistakes I see when companies talk about viral, they have a reel that goes viral, is that they realize that that's a big hit right now, right? It's a big dopamine hit, and they see it happen, and they try to change their entire marketing strategy to now follow that. But at the end of the day, viral and trends, they end.
Yeah. Which, is one thing that if you're really prepared with your strategy, you're going to have that planned in there, right? Because that goes into your outcomes, right? When you plan your marketing strategy, you start with your outcomes and you kind of go backwards because you want to steer people in that direction. So you try to be prepared for that end. But that, I'm curious, with all of this and looking at this, I want to know what your key takeaways were. So I'm going to tell you mine. My three prime takeaways were be agile, jump on the bandwagon, and be prepared for the end, which you just brought up.
Yeah, absolutely. And mine are to treat it like a lead magnet, which we'll go into in a second for some actionable items. But don't forget about your diehard fans, right? Like it's great, the dopamine hit of the new people coming in all the time, but let's not forget about the people who made you. And at the end of the day, whenever you're doing anything viral, there's gonna be haters, so you may have to shake it off. I was waiting for that laugh. I knew you were going to get it there. But anyway, at the end of the day, Tamara, we work with companies who are not the NFL and who are not Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. So what are some actionable steps that people who are running businesses that we work with, the types of businesses we work with, which is SMBs and startups, can take to get the same positive outcomes? We don't want the bad ones, the good outcomes at the end of the day in this viral world that we live in.
Yeah, so my main one would be the bandwagon effect, right? Jump on it, definitely. And the brands who did do that and did it successfully and well thought out, they did really well, which we'll talk about in a second. But so if you're a brand and you saw this and you were like, oh my gosh, I have something that matches, let me try and do this. There's a few key things that you should do. And wait, let me back up. There are a few brands that did do this well, and you should check them out. It's State Farm, Heinz, Dunkin', Primal Kitchen, and the clothing brand Kid Super. They all saw this moment and went, I have something good for that. And they all did the following things. They understood the trend. So if you're going to do this, you have to understand what the trend is and how to utilize that. Don't compromise your brand identity. So just because it's viral doesn't mean that you have to jump on it if it does not mix with your brand and your brand identity. Third, give it an original touch. You've got to do something that's unique to you that stands out. Don't just do like that, like I call it like the TikTok trends, which is using the same music and doing the same dance to it. Like, no, it has to be unique to your brand and customized to each platform. We are so used to just, having a social media manager account like Hootsuite or something where we can upload one video and post it everywhere. That is not the most successful way to do it. Customize each campaign to each platform. They are different. So, Nicole, what is your main takeaway from this and how can people utilize it?
Yeah, I love everything you said, and it's almost like your takeaway was kind of the top of funnel lead generation version of my takeaway, which was the bottom of funnel or middle of funnel kind of converting, right? So you're on this trend, you jumped on it, it worked really well, you have all these new followers coming in, but how do you convert them to real followers, right? So many companies that I see, what they do is they get these new followers in, they think those followers are theirs, and they forget to convert them, and then they forget to nurture their existing followers, and now they're kind of in between a rock and a hard place, right? So for this, the way I would do this is to treat it like a lead magnet. We all, as marketers, know what lead magnets are. How do you build a funnel around them? Get them in, build your email list, build your community, and then figure out the messaging, right? Not the same way you don't want to just put one video out there on all platforms and not customize it to that. You don't want to do that with your messaging. These new fans have different pain points. They have different things they want to hear from you. And your old fans have the same thing as well, different pain points and different messaging they want to hear. Figure out what those messagings are. Segmentation. Then from there, you're going to take your tech, you're going to make sure it's segmented, you're going to have different lists, and you have different messaging going to each one. There's nothing worse than a company who grows their email list, builds fringe networks and builds their community and then messages the same thing that's not relevant to any of their fans anymore. And then the last thing is nurture, 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 right? Just because you got the fans in doesn't mean that that's the finish line. We need to nurture them to build them into real fans so that they're not unsubscribing, so that they're buying your products, because we all know that followers does not equal revenue. And at the end of the day, it's about selling product, building your business, and building your revenue.
Yeah, can I add something into yours?
So...
Because it's like,
oh yeah,
it's so
of course. Come on.
And honestly, I can't tell you how many times I've gone in and talked with a brand and been like, oh, they've got this really cool idea, or like, you know, we're going to partner with them on something. And then they create all their assets for their social media campaign, and there is no call to action. And so it's like, when you're doing this,
yes,
and you're jumping on the bandwagon, you're going to convert, you know, your new followers. How do you do that? You really have to be clear on what your call to action is. So don't miss this moment of creating a fantastic, you know, viral campaign, and that just like people watch and they're like, that was awesome, and they have no idea what to do next.
I feel like as marketers, a lot of times we have to think about human psychology and how they think and how people react. And believe it or not, like not asking someone to do something, like you think they understand what the next step is, but they don't. And there's proof. There's proof in the pudding. There's data that shows that if you post the same thing with a call to action and one without, and you do a little A/B test, that there's like a huge jump, like 20 to 30% jump in the amount of people who take action, just by asking them to take action. And that's probably why we'll put a subscribe now button somewhere here, because we want you to subscribe, right? Subscribe. So be very clear and have one call to action, right? What's the one call to action you want them to do? Subscribe now.
Subscribe now. Smash that button. But you know,
right?
With this, yeah. Subscribe. We want to be the winners in this. And you know, when I look at marketing campaigns, I like to compare what other people are doing. And usually when you do that, you can see clear winners and losers. And with this, it was plainly clear to me, people who jumped on the bandwagon and people who missed that moment. And I've got to point out my favorite two, my favorite one, and the person or the organizations I thought totally missed their moment. State Farm. State Farm, hands down, did a great job grabbing this viral moment and utilizing it to build their brand. They sent Jake out for some cameos with the Kelsey family in Philadelphia, and then they utilized that content, made it into a campaign, put it out there, and it went viral itself. It was great. Fantastic moment. Great job done by the marketing team, which is obviously, it's run by Ryan Reynolds, so they know how to jump on something viral, and it was fantastic.
Genius.
Total genius, right? Total miss in my mind. Yeah. I went searching for something that HBO did because I wanted to see what they were doing, considering they had a documentary of Taylor Swift on HBO. Crickets, couldn't find anything. Total miss for them. What do you think?
Yeah, and I mean, it's clearly why HBO has been losing relevancy among, you know, fans and viewers throughout the last, 5 years now, right? They had a perfect example. But for me, the win is whatever you want to call them, Tavis, right? Travis and Taylor, right? Like, they are the win, right? And you might be saying, yeah, duh, Nicole, they're the win, but they could have easily, like, shut everyone out. They could have easily said, stay out of our personal lives. I'm sure we still would have talked about them, but we wouldn't have had as much of this, like, gold mine. And quite frankly, both of their brands, I don't know how you can make a bigger brand than Taylor Swift, but both of their brands for years to come, whether they stay together and get married and live happily ever after, or they break up, are going to be better for this. And I actually saw a chart of all of Taylor's ex-boyfriends and how their social following, what happens when Taylor is in the picture, and it's pretty amazing. Go look for that. Maybe we'll link that below. But
yeah, let's include that in our notes, in our show notes.
Let's include that in the notes. But anyway, they have been drip campaigning us out their relationship. There are rumors that the relationship started back in July, and we didn't hear about it until, Taylor showed up at an NFL game, right? They know what they're doing. They're drip campaigning it. They are promoting the movie. They're promoting the podcast. They're building this, like, there's nothing better to call it than a drip campaign. Like, they're nurturing us into fans.
I mean,
but anyway,
I
they're
kind
the
of feel like
win
you're giving,
that I have to say.
I feel like you're giving Travis Kelce more credit than maybe he deserves. I don't know. Maybe he is, the brains behind this. But Taylor Swift is a marketing machine, and she is fantastic at what she does.
Down.
So I feel like her and her team have this all handled and are figuring out how to optimize it. It's phenomenal what they do.
Hands down, you're 100% correct. And Travis has even said it, watching her work and think through, their relationship every day. He said it's incredible and whatnot. And whatever you think about Taylor, she is a marketing genius. We all know that. And funny enough, I made a joke about this when she was first spotted at a game before they said they were dating, that I said, if I was Taylor, I would easily sell packages to companies like the NFL who need some help building their relevancy and building their fan base, and say, like, hey, you know what? I'm not doing anything. I'm not recording a record right now. Might as well pay me $500,000. I'll show up at a few things and help you. And so, but that's absolutely what's happening. And so whether or not it's Taylor or Travis, both of them are winners in this game. And for me, the loss is the other sport leagues. I mean, if I'm your marketing team at the MLB, golf, like, it's been proven that they also have the same issue the NFL has, which is bringing in younger fans, bringing in fringe demographics. I would be like putting out a recruitment video to Taylor, like, hey, look at what the MLB has. We have some really gentlemen, like, men here. Come join us. But I don't know. That's just me.
Maybe get her to play golf. Get her out there in one of the championships. Like, that would be awesome. I would watch the game probably. There you go, Nicole. We mostly work with small and medium-sized businesses, and so we want to give them the tools to take away from this and utilize. And my main advice for a small or new organization is, don't be afraid of a trend. Jump on the bandwagon, pick maybe 1 or 2 times a year that you're going to do something. So, you don't have to go over it. You don't have to be like constantly on social media trying to figure out what all the trends are. Pick a number that you can go after, number of times to do it. And then figure out your clear strategy of when you do it, right? So, like, what do you want the outcome to be? And be quick on your feet and try it, right? Because you won't know if it's successful if you don't try it. So pick 1 or 2 times, make sure you know the outcome, make sure you have that call to action, and go for it. Nicole, what do you think?
Yeah, and I think that for me, it's about not just taking advantage of the trends, taking advantage of knowing your goals for the year, goals for the next 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, knowing your mission and your value, and taking advantage of trends that fit into those places. If it not everyone has to dance on TikTok, right, Tamara? I mean, we had that whole trend where everyone was dancing on TikTok, and we got some of the cringiest videos from some of these companies who were just trying to jump on the trend. If it's the companies that are getting canceled, the companies that are getting pushback, the ones that we always talk about that had a miss, is because they did not stick to their values, they did not stick to their mission, and they didn't stick to their goals. And so you can't lose even if you have haters. You cannot lose if you're sticking to who you are, who is following you, and what their values are. And at the end of the day, that's where our situational report comes in. That's why we do the deep work before we come up with a strategy, and that's where the strategy is different than just the execution in marketing, quite frankly.
And if you want that situational report, you can download it in the link below. You can take away not only the situational report and see how we worked through this, but also all of our key points that we talked about today. And for that clear call to action, subscribe to us to follow all of our marketing case studies, as well as we're going to be doing troubleshooting videos that really help you think through marketing strategy. So we are here not to give you a step-by-step, oh, do this to set up your email. We're here to help you think like a fractional marketer, to build your business, to grow, to scale it in a way that's unique for your business. With that, Nicole,
Yep.
we've had a great show.
I love it. I think that you said it. You said everything, but also I want to become friends with each and every one of you, and I know Tamara does too, so please join us on social media, on our email list. We'll have exclusive VIP content going through some of those fractional situation reports in more depth. So you're going to want to become part of our community as well. So join us, and until next time, happy marketing.
Yep, that's what the frac.